Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dangerous Ideas. I'm Lee Camp. A lot to talk about today. Um, we got the other six co-conspirators, or the people the FBI considered co-conspirators. Apparently, at some point, those names have been revealed in the Epstein scandal, the Epstein files. Those names have been revealed. We'll get into that in a few minutes, as well as Elon Musk's brother was apparently set up and essentially dated an Epstein victim for months, I guess, weeks, if not months. We'll get into that. But remember, Elon Musk knows nothing about Epstein. He may have met him once. He said Ghislaine Maxwell photobombed a photo he was in once, and that was all he ever knows. But his brother was dating one of the victims for a good long time, while she was one of the victims, not like afterwards. Anyway, but before I get to all the Epstein stuff, please click thumbs up, click share. My stuff is heavily throttled and suppressed, so everything you can do helps a little bit. But before we get to the Epstein information, and I have more than the things I've just highlighted, but we'll get into that in a second. But let's start off with the fact that there's now more evidence that Trump is building a kind of ghost network of concentration camps. This is from Sheer Post. U.S. military helping Trump to build massive network of concentration camps using a Navy contract. So basically funneling money out of a Navy contract into other things the Trump regime wants to do. Here's from the article. In the wake of immigration agents' killings of 3 U.S. citizens within a matter of weeks, the Department of Homeland Security is quietly moving forward with a plan to expand its capacity of mass detention by using a military contract to create what Pablo Manriquez, the author of the immigration news site Migrant Insider, calls a nationwide ghost network of concentration camps. On Sunday, and I guess, you want to know what qualifies a ghost network. What exactly is a ghost network? I think what his point is it's gotten barely any media coverage, but on top of that, the funding is coming from something else. So they're kind of, you remember the Iran-Contra affair, which got a lot of people fired or put in prison, was about Reagan and his goons funneling money from one thing to another so that they didn't have to get approval for it, didn't have to go through Congress, didn't have the American people finding out about it. That's what this is essentially, again, is you take money allotted for a naval contract and go, oh, you know what? I don't really want it to go to the Navy. I'd like to quietly build concentration camps across the United States. On Sunday, Manriquez reported that a massive Navy contract vehicle, not like a car. I don't think he means like a bicycle or something. I think he means like a thing, a contract vehicle, a vehicle of a contract, not like a pogo stick. Is a pogo stick a vehicle? That's a tough call. You guys hash it out, okay? What defines a vehicle? Can it be pogo, or does it need to be wheeled? Once valued at, what if you had a car on 4 pogo sticks bouncing down the road? Is that then a vehicle, even though there's no wheels? It just has pogos. Are those things called pogos? I don't know. I'm gonna let you guys hash this out. I don't have the bandwidth for it at the moment. A massive Navy contract vehicle, once valued at $10 billion, has ballooned to $55 billion, $55 billion ceiling to expedite President Trump's mass deportation agenda. But as many people, I hope, are wise enough to know that anytime the government says they're using money for one thing, or, oh no, these concentration camps are just for immigrants, or just for the naughty immigrants, inevitably those things get used on everyone else eventually, everyone who's not in the ruling elite sociopath group. But DHS was funneling $10 billion through the Navy to help facilitate the construction of a sprawling network of migrant detention centers across the U.S. in an arrangement aimed at getting the centers built faster, according to sources and federal contracting documents. The goal is for the facilities to house as many as 10,000 people each and are expected to be built in Louisiana, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Utah, and Kansas, all of your favorite places to visit. The contract states that the money is being repurposed for Titus, which is an abbreviation for Territorial Integrity of the United States. Yeah, that's exactly what fascism is. Fascism is protecting the territorial integrity of the United States. This $45 billion increase, published just weeks ago, converts the U.S. into a geographic region for expeditionary military-style detention. And this is another key point of this is the military is not supposed to operate within the parameters of the United States, right? The military is supposed to largely be for outside. Now, there are obviously many people could point out moments where that's not true, the National Guard, etc. But ostensibly, that's kind of the idea, is you don't have the tanks rolling down Main Street patrolling the American. Now, I could also have a debate with you about whether the U.S. police is any different than a military, considering the U.S. police are one of the largest militaries in the world. But again, put that aside for a second. And still, this would be you're using military money, naval military money, to create concentration. You're basically making the domestic United States grounds for military occupation. And again, I think a lot of people would say, well, we've been occupied by people, a U.S. military version that just happens to wear blue instead of camo most of the time, 70% of the time. It means the infrastructure is currently a ghost network that can be materialized anywhere in the U.S. the moment a site is picked, Manriquez wrote. In addition to tent cities capable of housing thousands, contract line items include facilities meant for sustaining living, including closed tents likely for medical treatment and industrial-sized grills for food preparation. Boy, these all sound like things that are going to be used to house thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Americans. They also include expenditures on force protection equipment like earth-filled defensive barriers, 8-foot-high Conex box walls, and weather-resistant guard shacks. Boy, sounds like they're getting ready to, they're creating military bases within the domestic United States in order to wage some sort of war on Americans. Huh. Funny that is. That sounds a lot like Trump and his goons are getting ready for a war on the American citizens. And many who are protesting ICE right now would tell you we're in the middle of a war on American citizens. And anyway, this is pretty shocking. I think we should maintain our ability to be shocked, even as we understand how horrific Trump and his goons, but it's not just Trump, right? It is the two ruling elite parties that are very close to being one party. And we should maintain our ability to be shocked. You might not be surprised, but you should be shocked or outraged. Maybe you're not shocked. We should maintain our ability to be outraged. I guess I misspoke. Let's keep our outrage, even if we're losing our shock at just how horrifically or how anti-American people this regime might behave. But okay, I wanted to bring you that about the $55 billion ghost network of concentration camps being built across the United States. And perhaps another important factor in that story is that it's not a story, is that you've almost heard nothing about it. There's very little coverage of this. To me, I feel like that should be part of the story. Why would the mainstream media not be covering this a lot, I wonder? But okay, let's move on to, and thank you everybody who's here. This video is even more suppressed than my videos normally are. I don't know what it was. Maybe because it has the word victim in the title. Who knows? Who knows what it is? Maybe because it's got the word concentration camp. I don't know. No idea why this one is the one. Because I cover these topics pretty much on a daily basis. But Let's get into the 6 men named as co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein. They were named in an FBI report, which I think was from several years ago. But initially, and you'll recall that, and by the way, they just finished a hearing in Congress where Pam Bondi was, they were screaming back and forth at each other. And some of it was about Epstein, not all of it, but some of it. But what I was going to say is the Justice Department right now is supposed to be revealing all the Epstein files, right? That is part of what they're supposed to be doing, and they're doing it very slowly and not doing some of it, and redacting things they shouldn't redact, and not redacting other things they're supposed to redact, and clearly cutting out any mentions of Trump as best they can. As one photo came out showing Trump, and they quickly took it down, and then when everyone had already taken screenshots of it, they put it back up because at that point all was lost of redacting that photo. But anyway, one of the things they redacted was 5 of the 6 members that were listed as co-conspirators by the FBI a few years ago. Co-conspirators of Epstein in his sex trafficking, in possibly more than that, possibly blackmail, possibly extortion, etc. And we knew one of them, Les Wexner. Now, Les Wexner, I've talked about. He's the founder of Victoria's Secret, which is such a shock that the guy behind Victoria's Secret would be a perv. What? No. That was a good, wholesome fella. But so Les Wexner was named, and we knew about that. But the other 5 were not. And so now, because members of Congress can go and view these documents unredacted, they're not allowed to take photos or anything like that. So they basically just have to take pencil notes of things they want to record in these millions of documents. Ro Khanna has gone on the floor of Congress in order to read the other 5 names listed as co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein. And here are the names. The 6 men named by Khanna are Les Wexner, Sultan Ahmed bin Salayem, CEO of DP World and an Emirati billionaire business person. And the 4 others identified are Nicola Caputo, Salvatore Nuara, Zarab Mikaladze, and Leonid Leonov. I don't, maybe folks have already done their research on the other 4. I don't know anything about the other 4. But you've got an Emirati billionaire in there, and of course, Les Wexner. And again, this shows that the Justice Department is working very hard to cover these things up. Why redact those 5 names? They are trying to protect the ruling elite. Let's see. It has a little bit. The Guardian article has a little bit on some of these people. Wexner, we've already talked about a lot. By the way, Wexner and the Clintons have agreed to testify in front of Congress, and I'm sure they're going to tell the whole truth, folks. I'm sure. Totally going to tell the truth. Sultan Ahmed bin Salayem, the Dubai-based business person, leads DP World, multinational sports and logistics enterprise in 80 countries. He's also the brother of Mohammed bin Salayem, the head of the FIA, which governs the world's motorsport championships, including Formula One. Recently disclosed documents reveal that Sultan Ahmed bin Salayem emailed Epstein in 2015 that he met a girl 2 years ago that went to an American university in Dubai and was the best sex I ever had. She got engaged, but now she's back with me. Representative Massey, who more on him in a moment, but he also said that since the names were unredacted, it appears the Justice Department confirmed that Salayem was the recipient of an email from Epstein in which he said, "I loved the torture video." So that meant what exactly? Nicola Caputo, a man by that name, is an Italian politician who represented his country in the European Parliament from 2014 to 2019 before taking a senior position in Campania's regional administration, but no verified evidence confirms that individual is blah, blah, blah. And the final 3 names, it seems not even the Guardian knows who those 3 people are yet. So that's where it stands on. And again, this does not mean these are the only co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein. This means these are the ones that the FBI had listed several years ago in that one report as the co-conspirators. So I don't think we should just end it at that. Oh, those are the head honchos. All right, done. Move on. That is definitely not where this should go next. But more revelations on the Musk family. Not sure how much you knew about Elon Musk's brother, Earl. No, I'm kidding. But wouldn't that be great if his name was Earl? That would be wonderful. But dude, I didn't know much about Elon Musk's brother, but does he not look like some kind of creepy AI generation of Elon Musk mixed with a cowboy? It's really disturbing. Kimball Musk. He is on the board of Tesla. So he's not like a nobody. He's not sitting at home. He's literally on the board of one of the biggest companies in the world. You just view him, and of course he's a billionaire. You just view him as a nobody compared to Elon Musk. But here's the thing I'm going to get into is not only does it reveal Kimball Musk's involvement in this, but it also, I feel it shows at least one of the techniques that Epstein used in order to some degree, control powerful people. I think that's what we learned from this. Jeffrey Epstein engineered an intimate relationship between a woman in his network and Kimball Musk. And another thing to know is if this were just a random adult woman who, yes, Epstein did a bunch of horrific shit, but he also existed outside of that as well, right? So just because he, might have set up a girl to go on a date with Kimball Musk doesn't mean it's necessarily horrific or sex trafficking, et cetera, except we now know that the girl that was quote unquote dating Kimball Musk has said she's a victim. She did not want her name revealed, but she has stated through lawyers that she was a victim of Jeffrey Epstein and she was coerced into this sex trafficking ring or whatever you want to call it. So Epstein engineered this relationship. Kimball Musk, brother of Elon Musk, director of one of the board of directors of Tesla. According to emails from the Justice Department release, the younger Musk and the woman were involved for around 6 months between 2012 and 2013. Kimball Musk described it as dating. In the lead up to Musk and the woman's first meeting, Epstein and his longtime associate Boris Nikolic labored to set them up and bring her to a birthday party Musk was throwing, and said, please prepare the woman winky face, which read into that how you like. Jeffrey and Boris, many thanks for connecting me with the woman's redacted name, said Kimball Musk. Throughout Musk and the woman's time together, she forwarded Epstein several of the personal messages that Musk sent to her. So now we're getting into how this relationship was controlled and how it was useful for Epstein in order to maybe get to Elon Musk, and even Kimball Musk is a powerful person. So even just having some control over him is useful. But this woman who, as I've said, has stated that she was a victim was being stage managed through this relationship by Epstein and at least one of his associates. She forwarded Epstein several of the messages for guidance. Through her lawyer, the woman has said in recent years that she was trapped, coerced, and abused by Epstein while in his circle. The woman has not publicly told her story and did not want her name published. However, the Justice Department failed her in that regard and did publish her name. The Guardian's not putting it there since she doesn't want to be known, and I'm not going to try and dig up her name either. Let's see. Here's a quote from Kimball Musk responding to these horrible accusations. This post related to the Epstein file and why my name is in them. In 2012, I started dating a woman who was 30 years old. I met her through a friend. Epstein did not introduce us, even though he clearly did. My only meeting with that demon, as he calls him, was in his New York office during the day. I never met with him again, and I never went to his island. But we now know that one of Epstein's victims was set up to date Kimball Musk, and Kimball absolutely did that. We also know that Elon was begging Jeffrey Epstein to come to his island. Whether he actually went there, we don't have evidence of that. Kimball has also served on the board of SpaceX from its founding until 2022 and remains a prominent shareholder. SpaceX this month became the world's most valuable private company and plans to go public later this year with a valuation of $1.5 trillion. So I think Kimball's doing okay. So then what ends up happening according to these emails is that they date for a while, being stage managed by Epstein. Kimball Musk then wants to take a step back and says, this is, I want to go backwards and I don't want to be this close, etc. Says, can we go back to just dating sometimes or something like that? She then forwards that to Epstein and what seems to be a co-conspirator. What's this guy's name again? I'm sure I'll find it. Steve Hansen. There it is. Steve Hansen, who worked with Epstein. So she sends the emails, Musk's email stating that he doesn't want to keep moving forward with the relationship to both Hansen and Epstein. Then gets a frantic email back from Hansen, which basically is telling her, how dare you lose this relationship? He says, you gave, and there's a lot of typos, so I'll do my best. He says, you gave too much too quick. As I said, you should have come home max 2 weeks. Maybe that's a reference to you went home with him too quick. I don't know. Just don't even answer his emails or calls for 10 days. Basically play the game. Leave now. In 1 week, we'll have a plan for you. Does this sound like a natural relationship of adults? In 1 week, we'll have a plan for you. As you won't be able to listen now anyway, if you walk, which you must do, just get on a flight tonight. You have to control this. It's a game. You're losing. You're not even playing. Also, turn your phone off so when it rings, it goes automatically to voicemail. Like, there has never been a more clear evidence of stage managing a fucking, honeypot, sex trafficking ring than that. I wouldn't think, but I don't know what counts as evidence in court. So it was just a friend angrily telling her how to play the game. And she just happens to be forwarding all of these emails to Epstein and to Epstein's assistant. But don't worry, Kimball Musk has met Epstein one time, and that was it. And he knows nothing about it. No one knows anything about it. Have you noticed it? No one seems to know anything about any of this stuff. It's all just a shock. All just a what's a hoo-ja-ha. But yes, Musk is so, granted, the Justice Department is redacting or taking out all the documents that refer to Donald Trump. So we don't know anything about him, but it is kind of funny that Elon Musk told us Trump's in the Epstein files. That was one of his big bombshells. And yet Elon Musk and his family are in these Epstein files a shit ton. So Massey, Representative Massey has been, even though those were read by Ro Khanna. So there's a little bipartisanship, isn't it, to reveal some of these names. Massey has been one of the leads on pushing for these files to come out. And here's a video of him saying he was threatened. Basically, it's a form of extortion. It's saying do something or else. But basically, he was threatened. He and his staff were threatened by Kash Patel, who's the head of the FBI, if they kept going after the Epstein files. So I'm going to play that video real quick.
Also, I'm going to say this here on camera because it's important. One of Kash Patel's staff threatened my staff with a criminal investigation if we didn't straighten up and play ball.
I was going to ask you about that, but since you brought it up, and I didn't,
I'm bringing it up.
Okay, you brought it up.
And so, like a criminal investigation having nothing to do. He said it was going to be a fraud. We're going to investigate one of your staff for fraud. Right. And he told another one of my staff this: if you guys don't straighten up, if you want to play hardball, if this is how you want to play it or something like that, this member of your staff is going to get criminally investigated for fraud.
So there you have it. Massey and his staff are being threatened by the FBI for trying to reveal the truth behind the Epstein files. And so those who say Donald Trump protects pedophiles, fucking yeah. If he's not one himself, I guess we don't know if they're going to keep covering up the files. But yeah, they're pulling out all the stops to try and defend this and to try and cover it up, everything they have. Here is a clip of, you're not going to hear a lot from Peter Thiel. For those of you listening to the podcast, this is a reporter walking alongside Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is being asked both about how Palantir is becoming a massive surveillance company for American citizens. They're helping Israel commit genocide as well, but Palantir is kind of the preeminent company in charge of creating mass surveillance of American citizens. Yes, there's already been some level of mass surveillance, right? We know about the Snowden revelations and everything, but that surveillance is being kicked up into a much higher gear, and Palantir is one of the most important companies behind that. Peter Thiel, of course, creator and one of the heads of Palantir. But so he's being asked about that. He's also being asked about why he's so prevalent in the Epstein files. And let's see what he has to say about this. Hold on, please hold.
American people want this surveillance tech being used against them.
Hold on, let me start it over.
Mr. Thiel, do you have any comments about Palantir's surveillance of the American people, sir? Or any of your connections to Jeffrey Epstein? I think people are rather concerned about that last particular one. You're setting up a Big Brother surveillance system, and people know it, sir. You think the American people want this surveillance tech being used against them? Any comments at all on the Epstein connections? You were meeting with them? People are waking up to what you're doing there, sir. That's why we're here covering this.
So there you go. Peter Thiel, willing to talk extensively about his ties to Epstein. And by the way, Peter Thiel is, Joe Rogan has on these goons and basically just does brand laundering for them, propaganda for them, brings them on as if they're cool bros and they're fun and everything. And Joe Rogan has said that he has been to multiple parties with Peter Thiel. He's been to lunches with him. Sounds like Rogan has really become one of this in-group of scumbags that are truly taking over not just the United States, but the world. And anyway, when Thiel was on there, Rogan tried to bring up Epstein a few times, and Thiel, he did his. Anytime Peter Thiel talks, you feel like you're hearing from a malfunctioning robot. But he's like, in regards to Epstein, and then changes the subject. And of course, Joe Rogan lets him change the subject. Joe Rogan has had as guests, and like fawning guests where he never pushes them at all, some of the biggest names in the Epstein files: Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Peter Thiel. Like the biggest people in the Epstein files have been adored guests of Joe Rogan. So I don't know. A lot of people who were, I think most of you have not been Rogan fans for a while now, if you used to be. But a lot of people who are longtime Rogan fans are kind of like, what's going on? Like, why doesn't Rogan push any of these people? Why is he defending Epstein so much? And or when he doesn't, I mean, he's not really defending Epstein. He's defending the idea that all these scumbags didn't know what was going on, had no idea, etc. But anyway, we're going to keep moving. Speaking of Kash Patel, Let's get to how Kash Patel is covering up murder. Is involved in a murder cover-up. Why not? And well, okay, let me pause for just a second and say that I could do this first and then it'd be a good segue. I'm realizing I just screwed up the segues, man, because I could pull that in here, pull that thread in here. Oh, that would have been perfect. Okay, I'm going to do that instead. And then on the podcast, we're in post. We're going to cut all this out and you won't even know. And it'll just be like this perfect segue. That's what we're going to totally do right now. Oh, there's no it's live. Oh, it's live. Oh, shit. We've been doing these live for how many years? Oh, fuck. Okay, then that's not coming out in post, it turns out. Speaking of Palantir and surveillance of American citizens, see that smooth segue? I just put up a column yesterday, a new column, free to read on my Substack, about the horrifying mass surveillance Amazon Ring commercial that aired during the Super Bowl. Absolutely, just absolutely horrifying. I'm also gonna talk about an unredacted tonight, so you'll get to hear it there as well. But you can read that column at reallycamp.substack.com. I am telling people that I've been putting a lot of columns up there, and it'd be amazing if you could subscribe there because I am so suppressed on these other platforms that like YouTube is probably not going to tell you about my stuff, but Substack might. So reallycamp.substack.com. And the new column is titled "A Super Bowl Ad Accidentally Showed the Horrific Future of America." And it's about these new Ring camera apps, etc., that are surveilling our lives. And luckily, this column as well has gone kind of viral. Almost, or maybe more than 4 million people have read it. So not all at Substack. So you'll notice the numbers are not mind blowing on Substack, but a lot of people have read it on Facebook as well. So I only tell you that to say that you should do it out of peer pressure. Because 4 million other people are telling you to go read this after we're done here. So let's go check that out. I know Benny in the chat would like to mock me for saying I'm suppressed if 4 million people have read this column. But this is why I'm on multiple platforms. I try and find one that maybe isn't as suppressed as the others. So like right now, fewer people are watching this live stream than have almost ever watched any one of them because this live stream is so suppressed. Now, luckily, I have multiple platforms and I try and find the one that isn't knocking me down. So it would be amazing if you go check out the column and yeah, Benny, just fucking lay back, man. Okay, lay back. I've had like 6 of my platforms banned, deleted. And so, yeah. So, okay. One thing is going right for me. Is that too much for you, man? You can't have one thing. Moving on. Okay. Now we'll get to how Kash Patel is covering up murder. Oh yeah. I should also throw in there that if you want to support this show and actually keep it going, that would be amazing as well. Cause I make like $12 on ad dollars. So really the way that this show keeps going is by people but giving me the cost of a beer a month at reallycamp.substack.com. That's where you can do it, or patreon.com/leecamp. So hope you'll do that. Prosecutors began investigating Renee Good's killing, and Washington, D.C., specifically Kash Patel and the Justice Department, told them to stop investigating this murder. Hours after an immigration agent fatally shot Renee Good inside her SUV in Minneapolis, a senior federal prosecutor in Minnesota sought a warrant to search the vehicle for evidence in what he expected would be a standard civil rights investigation into the agent's use of force. So this is what's supposed to happen, right? After police murder someone, there should be an investigation as to what the fuck went down. But in this case, they start doing it, and then something gets in their way. The prosecutor, Joseph Thompson, wrote in an email to colleagues that the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, a state agency that specializes in investigating police shootings, would team up with the FBI to determine whether the shooting had been justified and lawful or had violated Miss Good's civil rights. Now, I should throw in here that these investigations almost always side with the fascist forces, almost always side with the police forces, the ICE forces, whatever, the vast majority of the time. So actually achieving justice from these state-run investigations, justice that would put a police officer in prison or put an ICE agent in prison, it happens incredibly rarely. They occasionally they'll lose their job, but the number of police officers or ICE agents that end up in prison for a murder is like 4. It really is like 4 over the past 20 years. It is a tiny, tiny number. And the one got put in prison recently for murdering what was her name? I always forget her. I mean, there's too many victims to keep all their names straight, but I always forget her name. The woman who was killed for holding boiling water. But anyway, so maybe there's one more, maybe we're up to 5 over the past 20 years. I don't know, but it is a tiny. So putting all of our hopes on this investigation is silly to begin with, but let's keep going here. Later that week, so like the same week they announced they'd be doing the investigation, as FBI agents equipped with a signed warrant prepared to document blood, spatter, and bullet holes in Miss Good's SUV, they received order to stop. Another small note here. Sorry for the tangents, but that's what I do. I'm a goddamn tangent king, which is like a king that's standing next to another king. Another tangent here. Blood spatter is bullshit. It really is bullshit. It's a fake science. If you actually read up on the history of blood spatter, it was the entire quote unquote science of blood spatter was created by like one dude who devoted his life to it. And like every time there's someone testifying in court, the blood went this way. And it showed that Carl did it because the blood spattered that way. It's like almost always this one guy who invented the quote unquote science and his students. So he made up bullshit and then created a fake school to teach other people how to feed into his bullshit. And like, if you actually read on the history of blood spatter, amazingly fake, like shockingly fake. As are many forensic science, not all of them. Obviously, DNA is very legitimate. Fingerprints have some legitimacy. You can often tell to some degree, but the truth is most I shouldn't get into all of forensic science, but the truth is most fingerprints are not perfect. And then on top of that, because fingerprints are very confusing, technically, they often just look at a few little peaks and valleys on the fingerprints and go, oh yeah, that's the same guy. They don't even test to see that the fingerprint was actually fully the same person. But then on top of that, there's actually no proof that there are not identical fingerprints. It just seems like it's unlikely that there's identical fingerprints, but it's not impossible. Okay, let's keep going. Right as they began the investigation, the orders they said came from, right as they began the investigation and started looking at blood spatter and blood hole, they received orders to stop the investigation. Do not look in to whether this was a justified killing or not. I mean, obviously it was not, but your right-wing trolls and human shit stains are saying, oh, it's totally justified. She was trying to run him over. That's what you could tell. She was trying to kill him and he needed to stop her. The orders, they said, came from senior officials, including Kash Patel, the FBI director, several of whom worried that pursuing a civil rights investigation by using a warrant obtained on that basis would contradict President Trump's claim that Miss Good violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer. So basically, Trump says something that's utterly false, and then the whole government trips over themselves to try and reinforce his lie. And one of the ways they are trying to do that is by stopping the investigation, because they know the investigation is not going to show that. It's not going to show what Trump said. But they know in order to keep their jobs, they have to just do whatever Trump try and build on his lie. It's like an improv game where someone walks in and they're like, I'm a ghost pirate. And you have to go, oh my God, you're a ghost pirate. You just yes and whatever the fuck they just said. That's the entire government right now. Trump goes, you inject bleach in your bloodstream to keep yourself healthy. And everyone goes, yes, that. And also do it quickly. Okay, top Department of Justice officials presented alternative approaches rather than an investigation. First, they suggested prosecutors ask a judge to sign a new search warrant for the vehicle, predicated on a criminal investigation into whether the U.S. ICE agent who shot Ms. Good, Jonathan Ross, had been assaulted by her. So basically, don't investigate whether the killing was, just investigate whether she assaulted her, whether she assaulted him. Later, they urged the prosecutors to instead investigate Ms. Good's partner, who had been with Ms. Good on the morning of the shooting, confronting ICE agents in their neighborhood. So her partner was not even with her in the car, but because she'd been with her earlier, investigate her. So they basically just came up with all these other things that should be done rather than actually investigating the murder. And so, like, this is Kash Patel and the Justice Department very much involved in a murder cover-up. I mean, that's what's going on here. You can call it all kinds of other names, but it is a murder cover-up. Okay, I want to keep moving because I have a lot of things to get to. Hope everybody already took the time to subscribe. realleecamp.substack.com or leecamp.net, my locals page, which is a great community of awesome people who make this show possible. You can go hang out there as well. But let's get to this goes under, along with the Ring camera, the new Ring camera apps. This goes on the list of where the hell is our technological world taking us. And in many ways, this has to do with capitalism, where we basically just do whatever makes money or whatever technology can allow. And we don't stop to think whether humankind should go there, whether it's good for people, whether it's healthy for the world, whether it's healthy for human beings. But anyway, I want to play this clip. This is the chief safety officer at Waymo. Waymo, for those of you who don't know, has driverless taxis. The city that I know that had several of them is Los Angeles, but maybe they're in other cities. I assume they must be in San Francisco, right? That's usually where everything is first. But I've never seen, I don't think I've seen one in person because I don't live in those cities, but they do exist. And they are taxis with no one at the helm. You get in and it drives around very slowly. And these are driverless taxis. Now, in many ways, you could say, okay, that's a benefit for humanity, right? It eliminates a lot of jobs that people had driving Uber and driving Lyft. However, if you were to actually deal with this like a responsible human being, then we would not have wage slavery. So, in a hypothetical world with no wage slavery, driverless taxis are fine. Really, we should have driverless large-scale mass transit rather than tiny little cars that cost $1 billion. But that aside, tangent on tangent on tangent. Here is the chief safety officer of Waymo trying to answer Congress's questions about it.
Yes or no, does Waymo employ humans located remotely to help its vehicles navigate difficult driving scenarios?
Senator, they provide guidance. They do not remotely drive the vehicles. As you stated, Waymo asks for guidance in certain situations and gets an input, but the Waymo vehicle is always in charge of the dynamic driving task. So that is just one additional input.
But the human being,
I'm just getting up there for a second. What is advice while driving? If this is a computer dictating where a vehicle is going and someone tells it to do something, isn't that kind of part of the driving? And like it's not advice, it's telling it to do, like, it's not like someone sitting in the passenger seat and going, I think you should go left, but what do I know? It's someone controlling the thing and saying go left because it's a machine. It's not So the answer is yes, they have remote drivers at times telling the car what to do.
Helps the vehicle to navigate those difficult driving scenarios. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So are all of these human operators located in the United States? Are they all here?
No, we have some in the US and some abroad.
So how does that break down? What percent are abroad?
Senator, I don't have that number for you. We can get back to you.
Is it a majority are abroad?
I just don't have that number.
Well, that's very curious that someone who's running the program has no idea how that workforce breaks down. Just seems kind of curious that you don't know that answer. But are some of these operators located outside the United States?
Yeah, some are located abroad.
Yeah. And so for me, that's fairly shocking. Waymo has critical safety employees who may need to intervene in a split second if a Waymo encounters an unknown dangerous situation located in the United States, but they are outside the United States. In what countries are these employees located?
The Philippines.
Jimmy?
The Philippines.
So they're in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Mr. Pena, that is completely unacceptable. And here's why. Having people overseas influencing American vehicles is a safety issue. The information the operators receive could be out of date. It could introduce tremendous cybersecurity vulnerabilities. We don't know if these people have US driver's licenses.
But beyond, and here's the thing is like Congress loves to say a lot of this shit and then not do anything about it. So it's not like Congress actually stands up for you. I mean, whichever congressperson this is, they act like, oh, I'm ashamed by this corporation. And then they never do shit because corporate America runs the show. It's not the Congress people are just puppets of the inverted totalitarian corporate state for the most part. But outside of that, this is so hilarious that we have these driverless taxis that are, eliminating jobs. And it turns out that you've got people in the Philippines probably getting paid 15 cents an hour to remotely, at least partially drive these things, which is just classic. It's classic capitalism. Is like, yeah, we could have, real human drivers here in the United States, but that's going to cost something. So let's have dudes in the Philippines, probably in a dungeon, probably chained to a radiator, getting 15 cents an hour to remotely drive these cars. It's like, I mean, it's so dystopian. It's so fucked up. But this is always, every corporate entity will go essentially, I mean, just about every, will go towards the path of most profit, which is the path of least money to American workers. And I like to get to a deeper level of reality. So on one hand, I will say that if you're, on level 2 of reality, you can be furious that they're taking away jobs from Americans. Fuck these people taking away American jobs or American gigs or whatever you want to call it that are already exploitative, but at least it goes to Americans. And these people are taking them away and giving them to a guy in the Philippines. So that's one level. You could dig down another level and go, but what the hell is wage slavery to begin with? What a fucked up way to set up society. The idea that we should all have mainly bullshit jobs, mainly meaningless jobs. I mean, there are a percentage that actually matter, but most jobs are borderline bullshit. And that is the only way you survive through your life, is to basically slave away all week to try and rent your weekends back. What in God's name? And yet, even people who might give you a legitimate analysis on like whatever that earlier level was of like, screw these people for taking our jobs, they will never, like the politicians, media articles, will never go to that like third rail of let's question wage slavery. Let's get down there. Let's get to a deeper level of what is our reality and why the hell we're living this way and why it is that technology is taking away millions upon millions of jobs. The estimates are that in like 5-10 years, AI will eliminate roughly 100 million jobs. And that's just a guess. Maybe it's 10 times that if it really scales up. maybe it's a little bit less, and it's only 90 million jobs. Point is, all these jobs for humans are disappearing. We're becoming like dogs in the system. I mean, maybe we've been dogs in the system for a long time, but and there's like no analysis of what comes next, where to go, why we need to evolve past capitalism. And you just see this shit and you go, well, this is just dystopia. We're just skating right into it. And in terms of what comes after capitalism, how to evolve beyond capitalism, one analysis that I am hoping to highlight soon, although I'm trying to like write a more in-depth piece about it. So when I do that, that type of thing takes longer, but is Peter Joseph's new integral system. And it's not, if you read about it, he has a Substack, by the way, peterjoseph.substack.com. If you read about integral, it's not like revolution against capitalism, burn it down and replace it with this. Instead, his belief is that in order for whatever comes after capitalism to take over, basically you have to start very small and it will have to grow as time goes on. And that is the goal of his new system that he's presenting. And I don't see a lot of other people presenting ways outside of capitalism. And don't just say socialism, because for one thing, socialism means 12 different things to 12 different people. If you ask 12 people, you get 12 different definitions of socialism. But beyond that, every socialism that we see, like, I don't know, Cuba or China or anything, has a lot of capitalism. It's still market economics. So rather than just saying, how do we get past capitalism, you should say, how do we get past market economics is the deeper understanding of it. But anyway, so hopefully I'll be covering integral in not too long. That's my aim. All right. I want to now show a video of someone, speaking of China, of someone in China getting healthcare, going in there. It's a 3-minute video. And for those of you listening to the podcast, you'll be able to understand essentially all of it, even without seeing it. It's because she's walking you through the process. But this woman, I think American, not a citizen in China. Doesn't matter whether you're a citizen or not. But she needed to get some prescription pills. She didn't say what the issue is, but she has an issue. Needs some prescription medicine. And here is her story of what it's like to try and get healthcare in China.
Okay, so I'm an American in China right now, and I'm at the hospital because I need to get some medicine. And I'm going to share the experience with you guys. This is where you grab a number. You just need to give them your passport. It doesn't matter if you're living in here, what kind of visa you are on. Anybody can go to a Chinese public hospital. Right now it's 2:17 p.m. and I'm going to show you guys the cost of the whole process and then also the timing. $7 to see the doctor. And then I just use my WeChat pay code over here. I put this up and I scan 50 kwai to see the doctor. Okay, so this hospital actually has so many different departments. You've got gynecology. I think they spelled that wrong though. Surgical department, neurosurgery, anesthesia, oncology, room in the city that you can just show up to without an appointment and see a doctor for around $7. Okay, the time is 2:26 and I go up to this machine and I scan. How do I scan it? And I scan my code. There we go. And then it puts me up on to the machine. It's been 1 minute and I'm already up there, ready to go in. Okay, it is 2:31 and I've already seen the doctor and gotten my prescription. Let's go down to the pharmacy, which is inside of this same hospital, and see how long it takes for the medicine to come. The total of the prescription was 37 kwai, which I'm pretty sure is like 37 kwai, which I'm pretty sure is like $5 for the whole prescription, plus the $7 to see the doctor. I'll do the math later. I think it's $12. Okay, now that I've paid the $5, I'm taking my code. It might pop up here at one of these. Okay, it's been less than a minute and my name is already up there and I 36. Yeah, there we go. And then I've got the medicine and I'm ready to walk out of here. So from 2:17 until 2:36, 19 minutes. And I did everything that I needed to do, and the cost was $12.
$12, 19 minutes to see a doctor. That's it. $12. Here in the United States, it's $12 to look in the direction of a doctor's office. Like if you just drive by at 30 miles an hour, $12. And this is, a lot of people are doing this, posting. I mean, there aren't that many Americans going to doctors in China, I think, but there have been people, this has been going viral, of people posting this same experience, some with far more serious issues. I remember seeing one video like this of a guy who broke his arm, and he went in and got an x-ray and saw the doctor in like half an hour and also paid about $12. The prescription inside the hospital, some of this has some similarities to some other countries' systems. I was in Sweden, and my kid needed to go to the hospital, and we took him in there, and he was seen, got treated, got medication, which was attached to the hospital, and the medication was free. Pretty much all medication is free, and the entire visit, cost a few dollars or something. So this is basically what many other countries are doing. And meanwhile, the United States, it literally, people don't go to the doctor because they know it will ruin their lives. Like that's the place that's what the United States is facing every day. And not only are people avoiding going to the doctor, but if you end up with something that's long-term, that's some sort of long-term issue, it will destroy your all of your savings, anything else. You will basically be just living on pennies, living on scraps, trying to survive because you got an illness or an ailment or something. That's what our system is. And some people say it's just because they haven't been able to, hammer out a deal in Congress or whatever. No, it's a fucking decision. It is by design meant to eliminate the upward mobility of most Americans, many Americans. The people that started to put away some savings, that started to move up the rungs of this godforsaken system, well, someone in their family gets sick, a kid, an uncle. It doesn't, like someone in their family where they feel obligated to make sure that person gets treated well and gets the medication they need, etc. And what do you know? All the savings wiped out. That is where things go. It's like, even if you have a good deal on health care insurance, you're paying essentially the same as rent a month. I mean, I don't even have expensive health insurance by U.S. standards, and I pay it costs like $1,000 a month, and it's not good health insurance. It's garbage. Like, this is the system we live in. It's so fucked, and it really has a lot to do with the fact that people need to understand. And again, this is how I choose or try to get down to the deeper levels of our understanding of these issues. A lot of analysis might end at that. I want to get to that next part, which is the American system is not just at war with so many countries around the world, right? Trump has bombed 10 countries so far. It is also at war with us. The ruling elite are at war with us. This is a class war. A tiny, tiny percentage of human beings are at war with the rest of the country. And sure, they also want to extract from us, and they also want to use us as their cannon fodder into the industrial system, etc. But there is a class war, and the healthcare system is just one of the battlegrounds of this class war. And if people could unite behind that rather than uniting behind Republicans or Democrats or party this, party that, then maybe you'd see some change. Maybe you'd see something larger. But yeah, let me do one more. I'm gonna squeeze one more story in here, which happens to come down on party lines, but I think it's about more than that. So I covered it a few weeks ago that there were a few Democratic Congress people who did a press conference and told our military to not follow illegal orders. Now, it's easy to say, well, shouldn't most orders from the military be illegal? Shouldn't it have been illegal to invade Iraq and murder 1 million people? Like, shouldn't that have been illegal? Shouldn't so much that our military does be illegal? Yes, fair point. But these Democrats were saying, you know, if Trump asks you to do something illegal, like wage war against American people, you should refuse to take those orders. You should refuse to do that. Now, of course, Trump and his minions call this, you know, treachery, call this being a traitor. And so they tried to bring charges against these Democratic lawmakers who said this. And they failed. Just today it came out, they failed to even get an indictment. Federal prosecutors reportedly failed to secure indictments against 6 Democratic lawmakers over U.S. military video. And as I've mentioned before, and as most people know the expression, you could indict a ham sandwich. It's incredibly easy to get an indictment over anything. An indictment kind of means nothing. Oh, they're doing this. They've like eliminated. Oh, there we go. Federal prosecutors reportedly tried and failed to convince a grand jury to indict 6 Democratic lawmakers over a social media video they recorded to remind service members that they are not required to follow illegal orders. Trump's, God damn it. Yeah, well, they used to have an article here, and now they've turned it into some dumb live coverage of some, I don't know, whatever the garbage is. But point is, they couldn't even get the indictment because, like, and it's so easy to get an indictment because all you need is a majority of the jury to, they're not even saying that people should be convicted. They're just saying you're indicted. And it's very easy to get an indictment. And Trump failed to even achieve that. And of course, we should have this a lot more. If we had a legit Congress, if we had actual representation, then the people speaking out for the politicians speaking out for the American people would be many more. You'd have many more. You have hundreds up there saying, "Hey, yeah, don't listen to illegal orders." Absolutely, but of course, that's not what we have. We have this tiny little handful of Democrats that are sometimes willing to, sometimes do something that is sometimes beneficial. And by handful, I mean like literally like 5. Anyway, you can put this under your good news, and that they couldn't even get the indictment on these folks for saying, yeah, you shouldn't fucking listen to illegal orders. How about that? How about that for a change? All right, I am going to wrap up. A note about Unredacted tonight. There's no Unredacted tonight tomorrow. It's our week off. So when you start thinking tomorrow, I need to tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern for Unredacted night, you will find no episode. So no Unredacted night tomorrow, but we will be back the following week. And I will also be back with another live stream Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And I also really hope that you'll go check out my new column over at reallycamp.substack.com. By the way, this latest column, if I could say so myself, very funny. I write a lot. I used to write a lot of humor columns. Now my stuff has become about 90% serious. But this one, I think you'll appreciate the humor. reallycamp.substack.com. Also, it'd be great if you click subscribe. It would be even greater if you thought that this live stream was worth a beer. Because a beer a month, the cost of a beer a month. I mean, people pay $100 or more, sometimes way more, for a fucking concert to like go see a show. I don't mean fucking. I mean, maybe it's a really good concert. I'm just saying, people think nothing of one ticket to a concert. Like $100, sure, why not? This is $8, or actually, if you pay for a year, it's $6.60 a month to support this show. So I hope this show is worth a beer for you. realleecamp.substack.com or patreon.com/LeeCamp or leecamp.net, my locals page. All right. I will see you Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Keep fighting.